What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Tattooing 101, and this is what we're going to go over today. I know I've done a couple of videos specifically on things that EZ Tattoo Supply has sent me to try out. And throughout doing these reviews, one of my most favorite things has been the cartridges. And I know a few of you out there think that when it comes to more affordable cartridges that they're just all going to be trash, and that anyone that says otherwise is just getting paid by the company or something like that to say exactly what they want you to say. But when I make this, I have used these cartridges on actual clients, and I'm going to be 100% truthful when it comes to all of the things. Any review that I do, I'm 100% truthful no matter what. So everyone knows what they're getting into before actually buying the product. So with these, you can see that most of these are open boxes because I have used these throughout the last month and a half. Every single tattoo that I've done over this past month has been specifically with these cartridges. And I'm going to go through, show you how they work and some positives and negatives that I found with these cartridges. So first off, what I'm going to do is show you what they look like. So this is the Bug Pin 15s, and I've used the bug pins, I've used their liners, I've used their standard mags, curve mags, pretty much everything they have to offer, so I could give you a broad horizon on what actually works. Because I know that cartridges are getting more expensive. My favorite brands were Bishops, T-Tex, Quadrants, and Black Claws as well. But they're definitely more expensive and also harder to get. Sometimes they go out of stock and you're not able to get the sizes that you want. And these surprised me so much. So I wanted to do a review specifically on the cartridges. Like I said, this is the Bug Pin 15 curved mag. So it's going to say 1015 M1C. So this is their V Select brand. They also have the EZ Revolution cartridges, and I've used both of these, and both of these have surprised me a ton. Anytime I get to do a review on cartridges, every single time there's been really terrible downfalls to each one. So I'm going to go over the 15 bug pin right here. And also I wanted to let everyone know that they do have the grommet on the inside to stop backflow. If you're using a pen style machine, I will only use cartridges with these because you don't want any of the water going back into your machine and completely destroying it. Even if you're just working on fake skins, you need that grommet or your machine could go bad. And I've been hearing tons of things about machines going bad here lately, and it's always because of the backflow going up into the motor and causing problems internally. So make sure that whatever cartridges you do use, it has that grommet on the inside. So now what do we want to get to next? Let's go with the standard 23, so 1223 curve mag. I've used these a ton. See, I like to use bigger cartridges. You get more area done. It doesn't overwork the skin if you know how to use them correctly. But I've also used the 27 bug pin curve mags, and these are awesome to get smooth blends, specifically like black and gray, things like that. These work awesome. Then I have some standard 15 curve mags and some 7-round liners. So this is a new box. I usually use like 11s, 14s, and then I'll use like 3 to 5s. But I wanted to try these out because I haven't actually used these yet. I've used pretty much every other size besides a 7. So on the cartridge, it's going to say 1207 RL, so round liner. And the expiration date's 2028. So sometimes whenever I get, more affordable cartridges, the expiration date will come very soon, but these. And then of course, if you are not new to this channel, everyone will know I love some thick liners, so I'm going to be doing a 14. And if you are new to this channel and you like tattoo related content, or you're getting into tattooing or want to learn more, I highly recommend you hit the subscribe button so that you can keep up to date on all the new content that we have coming out each week. I have noticed that about 80% of the people watching the videos aren't actual followers, so we could have a huge jump to our followers if you just hit that button, and it'll help me out a ton, be able to help me do more reviews and go over more content for you guys. So let's open up this 14 round liner. I've used these quite a bit. And I will say that for bigger liners, the cartridge could make or break a tattoo. I've used Quadrants here lately, and their 14s, their 11s, their liners in general just have not been how they used to. They must have changed their design, and the flow of the ink just isn't as good as they used to be. So I've been really trying to find another brand to go into. and I'm very, very happy with the way these cartridges are. Now, the one thing I will say on the 14s, there's a little bit of wobble, which I'll show you before getting into the tattoo with the actual needle. But yeah, that's just one of the negatives when it comes to, you know, liners. Some of the liners will wobble around a little bit. That's pretty much with every brand because they use the same tips for a couple different sizes. So they'll probably use like the same tip for a 7 and a 9, same tip for like a 11 and a 14, just so there's going to be a little bit of wobble in some of them. But that's normal, and it doesn't really affect the tattoo when you get into it. So now let's get into actually tattooing with these, and I could go over everything you need to know before possibly getting in some EZ Tattoo Supply cartridges. All right, so now we're gonna get into the 14 round liner. One of my favorite cartridges to use. One thing I like about these is it's not spitting ink everywhere. I'm letting my needle hang out. And sometimes when you dip into the ink, it just spits everywhere for cheaper cartridges. So you can see here, I have the reservoir filled up, but no ink, unless I shake it, is coming out. So now we can get into pulling our first line. So it definitely puts the ink in without any issue. You know, with bigger cartridges, sometimes the ink flow is just terrible. You're not able to do long lines like I'm doing here, especially with like cheaper cartridges. So you can see that I was able to do that blood drop in a single pass, which is awesome. Anytime I'm tattooing any line that I can do in a single pass, I will, because it's gonna leave a consistent line the whole way through. You won't have any stopping points. So having a cartridge that has the ability to hold enough ink to go through and do everything on a single pass is a game changer. Okay, now we're done with all of our 14 lines. I actually wanna see how much ink, like how long of a line you can actually do with one of these. So I'm gonna go off to the side and just run a consistent line to see how long, because it holds so much ink. So I'll start at the top here. That is almost amazing how long of a line that cartridge could hold ink for, going the whole way down. Holds ink very, very well. Now let's get into the 7. So first, before I get started, I want to check the wobble of the cartridge. So it's not wobbling around a ton. There's a little bit, but yeah, nothing that should affect the actual tattooing process. So let's get in and do some 7 round liner lines. So now that we went through all these, I just want to see how far we could do a line with this 7 round liner too. No, we ran out. So the 7 did not hold as much ink as the 14, which is kind of crazy because you would think it would use less ink, but still, that's obviously a really long line. You know, you'll have no issues doing an actual tattoo, but it is crazy to me that this one doesn't hold as much ink as the bigger one. So now let's get into one of my favorites, This is going to be the 25 standard curved mag. We're just gonna do some whip shading with this and show you how these work. And I've used these mags. These are probably, I wouldn't say my favorite mags on the market, but they work just as good as the expensive ones. So these are definitely the ones that I'm gonna go with from here on out, just because they're affordable and they do the job. You can see for traditional, it gives those sweet mag lines that you're looking for with a traditional style tattoo. And I've done black and gray with these and also color, and they work great for either one. I use standards more for color, and then I'll use the bug pins for more black and gray. But with traditional, I kind of stick with the standards for everything, because you want to see those nice mag lines in your tattoo to make it that style. You can see with a big mag, you could just get through work so fast because it's just putting in so much ink in a big area, and you can get smooth transitions using a bigger mag as well. So before we get done completely with this tattoo, I'm going to check out the 15 bug pin. So with this, I'm going to do some gray wash shading and show you how smooth you could get your transitions with this bug pin. So we'll do some actual shading on the leaves and inside the eyeball. We'll start out with our black. And you can see the difference in patterns, how these spots with the cartridge are a lot thicker because of the diameter of the needle. So these bug pins are 00s are 10 gauge instead of the standard 12 gauge needles. And now this is the perfect time for me to be able to show you side by side what the difference between a bug pin and a standard looks like. So that's the standard right there. I'm gonna go beside it and just use black ink to show you what the bug pins look like, just so you can see the difference between the two. So you can see it's definitely smoother dots when it comes to the bug pin. So that's the difference that you wanna look for. Whenever you are picking your cartridge for a specific design, always go with bug pins when you're going for more of a smooth look with black and gray, things like that. I definitely would recommend these cartridges. I'm going to be using them in pretty much every tattoo coming up in the future, just because they work really well. They're affordable. I will say that the 14 round liners can be a little bit tricky, so I'll probably keep with my bishops when it comes to the liners. But the 3 round liners that I've used worked perfectly. I will say with this one, yes, they held a lot of ink, but going through, lines, sometimes there was an issue with the flow. Some of these lines are a little bit lighter, so that means that the flow of the cartridge isn't, perfect all the time. But if you're not doing super long lines, that won't really affect you. I just like something that has an even flow going through the whole tattoo, because, I pull really, really long lines, and I try to do as much as I possibly can in one single pass. But you can see right there, I pulled a really long, nice line with that. Even with the 7 round liner, you're able to pull very clean, sufficient lines. Shaders don't have any issue at all. They all have the grommets, so it doesn't have backflow going up into the cartridge. So what is my honest opinion on EZ Tattoo Supply's cartridges? I know I've said this a few times, they actually did surprise me. Every time jumping into trying out something, I don't expect them to work out. So these definitely surprised me. They worked. I'm able to tattoo with them effectively on clients. That being said, everyone has their own preference on cartridges. When it comes to liners, one liner might work for one person and it doesn't work for another person at all. So specifically for liners, you'll have to try them out and see what works best for you. With mags and shaders, it's pretty much across the board. They'll work great for you. They work great for me. And if you're first starting tattooing and you want something a little bit more affordable, or you're working on clients and you want to pick up something that just doesn't break the bank every single time, and you could try out new cartridges. If you've never used bug pins, I highly recommend you check them out and see how they work for you. But with me personally, the times that I've used them, I'll definitely be ordering them again. So with that being said, I want to thank you for everyone that is watching and growing this channel as much as it has over the past year. I greatly appreciate everything that you guys do for me, and I hope you have a wonderful day.